Weapons, since their introduction to the game, have become an integral part of account building in GoTWiC, and they act as an extension of the existing commander system that was already in the game. So if we look at the weapon tab here, you will see all the weapons that I own currently at the time of recording, and you'll see there are many different rarities and variations of these weapons, scaling up from green rarity to blue to purple to gold, and then each commander in the game has a commander-specific red weapon, which will eventually be released over time. See, I believe, at least a majority of them in this tab here that are currently in the live server of the game with tooltips that can already be looked at. Not all of these listed here are in the game itself, so Daenerys, for example, isn't in the game, but she is in this weapon list. There are some other examples of this, like Sheila, for example, also isn't in the game yet, and there's many more at the time of recording which haven't been released in here, like Daeron or Sanel and plenty more. The way they function effectively is just a bolt-on to exactly how you already imagine commander buffs working. So primarily, it will be military bonuses. If we look at an example of a commander like Enzo, these bonuses here, they will only take effect when Enzo himself is present in a fight, so they are not passive. He has to be there for the bonuses to take effect. So if you're sending a PvP formation, something like this, these are the stats you'll be getting from your commanders, and only these stats will take effect. You can then equip weapons to each of these to further increase those bonuses that you'll gain in combat, and also when it comes to the red weapons, when you unlock them, when they're equipped to the corresponding commander that they belong to, you can further increase the 4-star ability of their awakening functionality to help improve any effects you're getting from that, further exaggerate any synergy. So here, for example, Kevin's weapon, I only have it at base here. Kevin's 4-star by default, if I can find him, this will pretty much do the same thing. But you'll see there reducing 10% non-skill damage for 2 seconds, and then when you get his weapon, and if you equipped it onto him, you'll see there it says reducing 10% of damage taken for 2 seconds. So this will affect all damage sources and not just non-skill damage. So with this weapon equipped, with a 4-star Kevin, then be reducing things like command damage on the lineup that you're buffing with this damage reduction also. This, as you level it up, will then be exaggerated more and more, and you'll keep buffing that 4-star further and further as you go up in the levels. When it comes to upgrading weapons, the pattern of this remains consistent throughout. I will overlay a chart that I've made listing this. So to unlock a weapon to base, you will need 1 copy of the weapon, or 100 fragments if it is a red weapon. To get it to 1-star, you will then need 2 copies, so a total of 3. To make it 2 stars from 1 stars, you'll need a further 2 copies, so a total of 5. To go from 2 to 3 will be another 2 copies, for a total of 7. And then 3 stars to 4 stars will be 3 copies, which is a total of 10 copies of the same weapon to make a 4-star weapon. All of these different rarities of weapons all have different levels of stats that they're providing. They can roll into different attributes through the Reforge system, which I'm going to do a video on after this video and won't linger on too much here. This is just the weapon specifically, rather than their rolled attributes. But generally, I would advise players to focus on increasing the stars of the weapons that they have equipped to their main PvP lineup. So if we take this rare infantry scroll here, for example, all these other blue weapons I have down here are basically useless. And if I was running, say, Bleed, I would want to throw all these weapons into this weapon to maximize its stats just like that. And that thought process will be consistent as you go up and up, with, of course, the higher rarity weapons being able to provide more stats, and they will also have more random attribute stats as you go up also. So here at blue, there's only 2 random attribute stats, and it caps at 20% infantry attack and 5% total health. You go to purple, it gains a random attribute stat, and these random attribute stats can actually roll into higher numbers. So if you look here, it caps at 18% infantry health, whereas at blue, it will be just 12% infantry health. So the stats will increase across the board as you go up in the rarities. And of course, the passive stats are also higher here with 8% higher infantry attack and 2% higher total health from that jump from 4-star blue to 4-star purple. That will be the same going up to gold and going up to ancient again, but the stars play a big deal, and you will often find situations like here where a 4-star purple weapon, for example, will be better than the lower stars of a gold weapon, and you'll need to hit 2 stars on a gold weapon for it to be bringing equivalent stats to a 4-star purple weapon. Purple weapons will be significantly easier to source than gold weapons, and on that same note, blue weapons will be easier and green weapons will be easier. Before I move off this topic entirely to get into how you get weapons, I should state what I mentioned with the commanders needing to be present for their stats to apply. This isn't always the case, so there are some collection bonus attributes you can gain from weapons also. Think of these as what used to be called economy bonuses on commanders. So if you look at something like, what's an example of this? Arslan has one of these. So he has this wood production, remains active after unlocking. You don't need to be doing anything with Arslan for this to be taking effect passively. And this will be the same with some of the weapons you can find also. So here, Soren's weapon, for example, you see here it lists collection bonus. So if we look at something like Kevin's weapon, it's just base attribute and random attribute. It's the same with all these other PvP weapons also. It's just random. There's nothing else listed after that tooltip. Soren's weapon, however, lists collection bonus after both his base attribute and his random attributes. So these bonuses, if the weapon is equipped to a commander, it doesn't actually matter which commander. So I have here the weapon equipped to Soren, but the only thing you'll be gaining from it being equipped to Soren himself will be the 4-star ability increases. The collection bonuses will be passive regardless, as long as it is equipped. And stats from only one of these weapons can apply at any time. So I have here 2 copies of Heartseeker, but only the equipped Heartseeker will be having any effect whatsoever. And you can only have 1 copy of a weapon equipped at any one time. So I can't equip this one to any other commander because I already have this Heartseeker equipped. But because of these, and I've seen these weapons be scoffed at a little bit, there's people like, oh, it's just gathering speed, I don't care. But you're effectively, through the random attributes, gaining a sort of troop appearance or a research in passive stats that will apply at all times. So if I'm running a formation here with, I don't know, Patello, Enzo, Drake, Salma, and Jamie, that doesn't hugely make sense. I'd say I'm doing triple weakness with the 3 healers, Jamie and Patello here, and I have base attack and all these weapons. This Salma weapon, or the Kevin weapon I have on Salma, isn't actually providing me anything in that situation because I'm running this lineup of 5. Whereas this Soren weapon actually is. So the collection bonuses are actually very useful in that sense because you can actually roll fairly decent attributes to be affecting you and buffing you at all times. There are a few of these in the game, so I think there is Raymond's that is now on the Supermine, rotating with Arya, and I believe Sheila's that is due to come out, I believe, if the things I've seen leaked are correct, in the upcoming Night King event in about a week and a half or so. Don't turn your nose up at these boring gathering speed weapons because these buffs under random attribute collection bonus will be applying to you at all times. Now when it comes to obtaining weapons, this is a fairly simple answer. It's mostly the fiery crystal mines through free-to-play means and money. Those are the main 2 ways in the game to obtain weapons. So through the fiery mines, if I can find in my report somewhere here, you can dig on the fiery mines every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So that's 96 hours a week to do this. And this will be the primary free-to-play means of obtaining weapons, particularly those of lower rarity. to pad out your commanders with a good basis of stats to add onto them. So I don't have any here, but you can hit gold weapons from this, you can hit purple weapons from this, you can hit fragments for Oath, Snowwolf, or Arslan's weapon Sandblade. So an infantry, a cavalry, and a spearman red weapon. And likewise, these fiery crystals you can use in a similar manner in the fiery crystal shop to obtain more fragments for these weapons, which will be your primary source of base attack, which I'll get into in the next video. For these 3 unit types, you can also buy weapon chests here too, which, as it states on its tooltip, you will open this to obtain 1 weapon of a random quality from green to gold. So these can't drop red weapons, only green to gold. They will also occasionally be in event rewards, so something like All Out War, you had Kravras weapons obtainable through this. You can find that. See a Kravras weapon or his fragments were obtainable through this. It was in the store too, I believe. Battle of the Narrow Sea lets you obtain weapons. The Supermine, which is up every fortnight on Thursdays, will be alternating between Arya and Raymond's weapons, and the top 10 placements will give you a declining from 1st to 10th amount of chests for that commander's weapon. The upcoming Night King event, as I've said, should have Sheila's weapon in it. But through free-to-play means, for mid-spending players, for free-to-play players, you're going to want to be farming Fiery Crystal Mine as much as possible, and then padding out your main formation with gold and purple weapons for your troop type, and then level those weapons with as many stars as you can to improve the effectiveness of yourself in PvP. Past that, for red weapons, the primary way will be black diamonds. This isn't always the case with some of the red weapons I've already listed. I believe the main split on the expensiveness of commanders is if they're elite token or epic or legendary token. So these ones here, for example, are available totally free to play. Then Haley and Garell's weapons are theoretically available for free, and that you don't have to spend black diamonds on them, but this will be attached to the recharge event in Archery Contest, or Weapon Depot, as the recharge event itself is called. And similarly, there will be Seg's weapon, which is now obtainable for black diamonds through the Amethyst store for a buy limit of 10 a day for 15 amethysts per fragment. And I'll do a full video on Seg and his weapon probably within the week, going over all the specifics on maths to get this weapon to 4 stars. Past those methods, it will be primarily through the store or paid events. So you have packs. If I look here, so this is the pack progression for Annie's weapon. This is the same for a big bulk of mid-spender commanders also. So Julian follows the same pattern, Hector, Salma. Salma being there would imply that Rhea and Patello will also follow the same pattern. It's slightly hard to put a full value to 4-starring a weapon through this because of how you can discount all these. You can buy the lower stages and grind it slower. But if you full buy this whole pack progression, it would cost you approximately 22,000 black diamonds to 4-star one of these weapons before coupons. So if you're a mid-spender, you're really going to want to slow grind this, and I would probably want to unlock them, get base attack on them, and leave them, unless you're able to spend in much higher pay brackets. There is also a set of packs for the weapons that are in the 1,000 black diamonds pay bracket also. So it'll be 1,000 black diamonds before coupons to buy this. You need to buy it 5 times, or 5,000 black diamonds to unlock the weapon before coupons. And therefore it would be 50,000 black diamonds as a base value before coupons to 4-star one of these weapons. This is for Cersei weapon. Baelish, John follow the same pattern in the store also. And you can also get some of these and the more mid-spender ones through like some Lair of Flames as well. So this is the most recent version of the Lair of Flames. It's about 3,500 black diamonds to do a full run, if I remember correctly. Can't remember the exact specifics off the top of my head. You see here on the final tiers you have John's weapon, Baelish's weapon, Cersei's weapon, and here it's Dana's weapon. And then in the second stage, you have Julian and Salma's weapon in there also. So this is becoming one of the better ways of obtaining those more premium weapons in the game, but you will be diluting what you're buying. And there is, of course, also the archery contest, which is the primary way of getting Layla, Sonara, and Jamie's weapons. Don't have any screenshots or means of showing this right now due to the time of recording, but this is an exceedingly expensive form of getting weapons. This is also the way you will get Lat's, Drake, and Enzo's weapons, as well as Lena, Andrea, and Miranda's. If you want to guarantee getting a very specific one, you will have to spend, if you have no other progress on it, 12,000 black diamonds or $1,200, which is a lot. So this is definitely a high pay bracket means of getting weapons, but the synergy enablers, especially with Sonara, Layla, and Jamie, are some of the best weapons in the game and some of the most important weapons in the game due to the prominence of synergy nowadays. You can theoretically get these for free if you get very lucky with the free arrows. And if you manage that, I applaud you. I have never achieved that myself. In all likelihood, though, you're gonna need to be spending money to get these weapons. So for low to mid spenders, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just stick to these purple and golds and the free-to-play ancient weapons. Kit your commanders out with them and try to maximize a small group of weapons that you can push the stats of as far as possible and min-max that main lineup of yours. Just a few more notes that have came to mind before I end this video. Below the ancient tier of weapons, there are, for the same type you'll see here, scrolls and axes. You can't use each other to upgrade the other, so you see here, there is, despite them both being infantry, they count as different weapon types. So I could upgrade this with additional scrolls, but I can't use axes to upgrade that. So that will gate your progression somewhat when it comes to leveling these low to mid spender weapons. And if you're wanting to see what weapons are doing in combat, as I leak my troops on my wall, don't care. If you want to zero me for whatever reason, good on you. You will find the weapon bonuses listed in the weapon bonus of report. So you see there right at the bottom, weapon bonus, and that will correspond the total health I have on these weapons, of course. And you'll see the same with the likes of infantry attack down there at the bottom, 175.4%. That is what I'll be receiving from my weapons. So if you're wanting to compare someone else in PvP, wanting to see what you're getting yourself in PvP for whatever reason, that is how you're going to want to check what weapons are bringing you. The main thing they'll be bringing will be base attack before you get to any huge swings of awakening effects at probably the mid-spender and up bracket though, which will instead, I showed that in reports also, it will show still in bonus, but down here in infantry additional base attack, and it will list the same for all different unit types according to what weapons you have equipped. So that went on a bit longer than I intended to, unsurprisingly for me. This was quite a novice guide and overview, but I have received quite a lot of questions actually, and it does maybe surprise me is not the right word, but I'm so tightly within quite an elitist bubble that I don't realize how many smaller players that haven't been exposed to all this knowledge just constantly in more casual alliances maybe, where just don't have it being beaten into you day by day. So I have felt it necessary to maybe do some context building and overviews of this sort of stuff before I go into more in depth with more and more weapons, which I will continue to do, and in time I will release videos on every single weapon in the game, go into all the maths and roughly put values on where they sit at, where they compare with each other, and whatnot. And next up I will do a video very specifically on the Reforge system and how you'll want to approach that, how you'll get Reforge ore, locking ores, and things like that. So I'll see you there.